I'm not matching profiles, I'm matching people.
How far are you willing to go to become you? I'm asked that same question every morning. The connection has been lost to each other and to ourselves. Toxicity continues to rise while self-worth continues to fall. This was created out of sheer necessity, the desire to create change and curve the culture back to connection. My journey has rerouted my idea of who I'm becoming. Connection begins within, continues outward. Love you, then love me, in that order. If I'm about to get uncomfortable, then so are you. I'm learning who I am. Now I want to get to know you. Connection over convenience.
It was created out of sheer necessity. There's been a shift in the culture, definitely a change in relationships and dating. We definitely lack integrity, lack intimacy, there's no vulnerability. And I attribute that all to online dating. This is coming directly from me being directly involved in online dating for a number of years. So it's become, I feel my responsibility doing my part to try to change it. I wasn't happy with what I was seeing, and you become addicted to it. It's almost an addiction or dependency. And I saw myself actually falling into that at some point. So I'm not trying to change it outwards and then inside. I'm trying to change it inside and work outwards. I'm going to tell them there's actually no expectations. The only thing they can expect is for it to not be like it is online dating. This is fully offline dating. There's going to be no swiping, no pre-texting for a week or talking or wasting each other's time. I'm going to really get to know you. You're going to get to know me. Really have to be vulnerable. So I have an idea of who you are, where you're coming from, really what you want in life, what you want in your partner. Then I will take my time to find the right partner for them. They'll actually meet them in person. If there's going to be a connection, it's going to happen in person, a real conversation, no wasting each other's time beforehand, no swiping. This is actually, meeting in person. The interesting thing is there's no difference between you were kind of looking at the Tinder and the Bumbles against more something that sounds a little more, upscale like an eHarmony, but there's really no difference to them. They're all the same. If they're online dating, it's online dating, and I saw no difference. I used them all. So this XXO offline dating, it's offline matchmaking, is completely different. The reason is those sites are built like a casino. So again, it's like a dependency. It's an addiction. It's a swipe culture. All those other sites are built where you're meeting partners online, and just there's a lot of back and forth prior to meeting. Sometimes you never meet the person. You've wasted a lot of time. Sometimes you meet the person and they're really there's no connection. There's nothing that they describe themselves that actually is who they are. So I'm cutting all of that out. Somebody who truly wants a relationship or a partnership, not just looking for casual dating. You can casual date anywhere. You can swipe and have, meet somebody the next hour, and then you can meet someone again in 2 hours from then if you didn't like that first date. This is not for them. This is not overnight. This is not instant gratification. And it's not for everybody, and that's fine. Online dating's not going away. It's $1 billion a year industry. But for the people who truly do want something of substance, looking for something more depth, they are looking for true intimacy and a connection, then this is the way. One thing that's been on my mind probably the past couple weeks now, and something that I haven't had the conversation. I haven't actually said this out loud yet. Yeah. But it's been on my mind, and something triggered it last night. It's been on my mind, but I watched something, I think last night or 2 nights ago, that really kind of put everything in perspective. Was when I first had the actual concept, like the seed that was planted. I was at somebody's house. She's actually, I use Mary Kay, which is kind of funny, but I use Mary Kay, products. And I was at her house picking something up. And we were having this conversation about, I was talking online dating. This is probably back in last October or maybe November or something. And her and I were having this long conversation. And I kind of, what we were talking about, it kind of planted a seed in my head of like, I wonder if about creating an offline matchmaking company, like the whole matchmaking instead of online. And it stuck in my head for weeks and weeks. And so my brain started firing off all through probably November, December, to come up with, I'm going to create an offline matchmaking company. And with that, I had the idea of the podcast. And then I had the idea that I want to do, write my second book. And then I want to do a TED Talks. Like, all this came to my mind. Like, these are the 4 things I want to do. And the reason I talked about her was I thought of as her. I reached back out to her a few weeks or a month later, and I said, let's sit down and talk. I want to discuss something with you. And I had the conversation about, this is what I want to do. And I know the idea was kind of, the seed was planted during a conversation without you really knowing about it, and I think without me even knowing about it. But I said, consider, us going in together, as kind of a partner, is going into something like this.
Right.
And I didn't hear back from her for like almost a month, which was fine. But my brain was firing off,
Right.
and I couldn't stop thinking about it. And during that time, I thought of my sister as a partner too. And I had the conversation with her, and she wasn't ready to jump in from what she was doing, So again, my brain was firing off, and I was just starting to come up with the concepts. I don't think I had the name yet or anything. And then at that time, I went on with. Now we're probably in. It was right around Valentine's Day, because it was right near Valentine's Day weekend. I met somebody, and I went on this kind of epic date. They are a purebred entrepreneur. I'll withhold the name to protect the innocent, because a lot of people know her, and she's a pretty badass girl. But her and I, we went on this big epic date. Like, we talked for, I think, like 3 hours on the phone when we first met, and then we went for like this hour-and-a-half drive to a destination.
How'd you meet?
We actually met online. We did.
Okay.
But throughout the whole night, I mean, she was just, her mindset, and after the date, and I kept, even today, and this is almost a year ago, I still think about like how she has her business set up, and at the time we were kind of, I think, crossing paths at an interesting time where she was looking to go to, she was looking for a life coach to like take herself to the next level. And she's, I mean, when I say a purebred entrepreneur, she has her shit together. She's very well known and established. It really inspired me, and I told her those 4 things, which anybody else probably would have thought I was crazy, but her mind fires so fast, and she probably, when I told her, I'm going to start an offline matchmaking company, I'm going to create a podcast for this, I'm going to be on TED Talks, and I'm going to write my book, and she probably didn't think I was crazy, probably, and then fast forward to going back to the different partners, when I say partners, in the business. And so the past couple of weeks, I realized, where I am right now and how personal I've gotten now, putting myself out there. But this whole, XXO, the whole offline matchmaking company, it comes from a place of it's so personal. It's like my mission, it's my purpose, it's my voice. So while it's great to build a team around it, nobody could replace what's that part of it, because that comes from something so internal that's firing off inside me, and so I have the message to deliver, and you and the team have the message to, you're able to deliver the message. That's kind of how we've worked this.
Right. Yeah.
But it worked out really well that I didn't bring in a partner, because how can they come into something like this that's so personal? And so it was either last night or maybe 2 nights ago, I was watching the badass business babe Lauren Eliz Love, who she has like 40,000 followers. She's a coach, and she just went through something with her and her. She brought on a person who's one of her employees as a partner, and she talks about the past 6 months of doing that, and then it just did not work out. The dynamic, it was her voice, her message, her purpose, and so they just kind of had to figure that out, how they were going to separate again and still keep the business going.
but bring it back to her because it's her voice. She's the face because it's all so fucking personal.
And there could be other components of that company of the people helping, but not with that initial startup, that initial purpose, because no one else, like you said, is going to understand that more than yourself, because it is coming from a personal, situation and things that you've experienced. And while someone may have experienced something similar, that drive or their end result or whatever word I'm looking for is going to be different than
the
yours.
direction is going to be different,
right?
And
the whole trip, the avenue getting there is going to be
Yeah.
different, and it may not be the most efficient, or might not have your.
it's not coming
in
from
mind.
the where it first started, the mission, the purpose. Like, we all have our own purpose and mission, and but it's coming from, like, I have a direction of where I want to take this, and everybody would have a different direction, and I know where I'm bringing this thing, and as it builds and it kind of goes, we navigate through. But I couldn't have another person pulling against me with their
50-50
idea of
like
it.
that. No, not
It's
like that.
so it worked out really well. But it's been something on my mind of why I didn't even, like, it's my sister as a partner. Like, I just realized it was the best thing to not bring her on as a partner. And at some point, she very well may become an employee, and I'd love to have her because she will, with the matchmaking aspect of it, she will crush it.
Yeah.
But I can't have.
It's not the right time.
It's just right now. It'll always be my voice,
Right.
because it's so fucking personal. So that's something that's been on my mind, and like just listening to Lauren's podcast the other day, with the two of them discuss what happened. And I apologize. I think I said life coach. He's a business coach, but it really like shed light on where I am and why I didn't bring a partner on, even
Right.
though. And I think part of it was I felt I couldn't do it on my own, and I needed to have somebody. And as I kept diving in, and it got so personal, I realized I couldn't have anybody like
Yeah.
this. I have it in me to be able to do it. I don't need another person to carry the weight.
Right. No, absolutely.
So it's something that's been on my mind. I'm really excited that I chose to just really, as I said, get uncomfortable myself.
Keep it close to the heart on yourself.
Yeah.
And that's a big thing that I think you could even, just in business startups or entrepreneurship in general, that a lot of people may go wrong, is they have this idea and they would like to, maybe they're the people they know, family members, friends, whatever it might be extraordinary assets to the cause and to the future company, but maybe in a different capacity to start, or no capacity at all, because like you said, it might throw off the direction and just derail the whole thing. And
It has to be aligned, and so everything has to be aligned with, the mission and the purpose, and what I have is what I want to accomplish. I mean, I want to curve the culture back to connection, bring everything back to connection. So I have the message to deliver, and forming a team that is able to deliver the message. So XXO, it's a whole team. It's equally as important. But everything has to be, I have to be aligned with the purpose, and then we all can kind of spread
gel together.
We can, spread the message about connection, and
Sure.
I want to change the culture,
Awesome.
and we will change the culture. I know we will, one person at a time.
Persistence.
Yeah,
Just like tonight.
practical persistence, purpose, passion, repeat. There you go.